And without any further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Chris Hunter. Chris Hunter is a business coach and the founder of Hunter Supertex and the Go Time Success Group. Chris is a devoted husband, father, and grandpa, and incorporates his family values and love of Christ into his business practices. Chris's ability to effectively run his business comes from his humble beginnings as a small business owner. He has seen firsthand the importance of investing in personal growth and the growth of your team and watching these seeds grow into healthy relationships with customers. Chris has based his personal business philosophy on the teachings of the most important book in history, the Bible. And his favorite verse comes from Colossians 3:23, and it says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as to the Lord and not to men." Without any further ado, Chris Hunter.
Hey, welcome everybody to Recruit, Retain, and Develop. So I'm Chris Hunter, and I'm going to talk to you today about something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, right? It's becoming a better leader. Oh wait, you thought this was recruiting? What in the world does leadership have to do with recruiting, right? Well, it's got a lot to do with it. So that's what you're going to figure out as we go through this session today. So glad to be here with you. Really, to get us all started, your greatest responsibility is to recruit, retain, and develop the top talent. So as you go through this presentation today, I know we get bombarded with information. We hear a lot of different things when we come to something as awesome as Service World Expo. But if you don't take away anything else, I want you to have this ingrained in your mind that you as the leader, your mission, one of your greatest responsibilities is to recruit, retain, and develop those of your team. Because we know this, if you want to grow, you're going to have a team. And we are in the people business. Remember that. I'm going to beat that into your mind today. So when you leave, you're going to be thinking about that. Recruit, retain, and develop. My greatest responsibility as a leader. All right, so here's a picture of my team, and it grew. It was amazing what happened, when we did these things. And here's the even more beautiful part about my team that I'm so proud of. We were in an area very, very small town America. It wasn't like there was a huge opportunity to have this abundance of techs or people that were qualified to come work in the business. So in 25,000 people in my little area, I had to figure out a way, how do I first draw in good people? Didn't necessarily mean they had to have experience. We're going to talk a lot about that. Then, hey, how do I keep them once I get them on my team? And how do I develop them so then we can go out and start to grow in other areas? All right, so that's enough about me. I love this industry. I have been in it for over 20 years. And this formula right here is what led my company to have plenty of success. And now I'm just happy to be able to give back to you. Okay, so let's dig in here. Where do we start? If we know we want to recruit, we know we got to retain them, we know we got to develop them, where do we start? And it really begins with you, the leader, becoming a talent magnet. Making your organization a talent magnet. And there is a phenomenal book, if you have not read it, it's called The Talent Magnet or Talent Magnet. And it has this formula. I want to share it with you up here on the screen. And it basically says that a talent magnet is B3, B to the third, times awareness. And we're going to talk a lot about what B to the third means. It starts with today's job seekers. They want something far different than maybe what the past job seekers want. In the past, I remember even my parents, when they hired on at a place, they called it womb to tomb. So you started there, you made a career, and you lasted 30 years or what have you until you got to retirement. Today's job seekers, no. They're looking for three key things, and these three key things I want you to remember as well. So the first one is they're looking for a better boss. People want to work for a better boss. There's another phenomenal book that's called It's the Manager by the Gallup organization. They actually helped put that together. I highly recommend you get it because it basically states that people do not leave companies, they leave managers. And also with this better boss, I want you to think about this. If your culture right now is not what you want, or you've got pockets of bad culture, let's put it that way. You've got something that you did not want. We need to take a hard look at the leadership, the bosses, the management in specific departments, all the way up to the top. If you take a look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, the good news is tomorrow's a new day. We can change it. You can change it. So it starts with the better boss. The next part in this B3 is a brighter future. Employees are really looking for, hey, where are we going with this thing? Is there a future in it for me? And it really all boils down to personal growth. How can we help them to grow? The last one is a bigger vision. It is they truly want to work for a company that matters. Their work matters. Doesn't it feel good whenever you know that your work matters? It does, right? Or what about if your organization is helping do something for the greater good? A lot of people want to work for a place like that. So when I ask that question, why would somebody want to work for you, come to work at your company when they have all these choices? They've even got, take the best company in town that you can think of. Think of them. And think of your company. Why would they want to work for your company? Can you answer these questions? Do you have a better boss? Are you a better boss than what they have? Can you provide a brighter future? Can you paint that future for them? And can you provide a bigger vision? Can you show them where you're going, what the mission is, your impact on society? So if you can answer those three things, now we get down to awareness. You can have all this great stuff, but if you don't have awareness, how in the world is anyone going to know about it, right? So you have to treat this as a marketing initiative. It's got to be a high priority, and really, just like you're trying to get new customers, we need to be focused on getting new employees, new team members to join our team. All right, so let's move on now to culture. So what is culture? It's the attitudes and behavior characteristics of a particular social group. Here's a picture of a magnet, because I truly believe culture is a magnet. It will attract others that have a similar value system that you want as well. So we all have a culture, whether we like it or not, we've got one. So if you look right now and you don't really like the culture in your organization, you're the leader. It's up to you to change it, right? You set the tone for the culture, and it comes down to your values. Here's the other beautiful thing about a magnet. What else does it do? Not only does it attract, but it repels. So when you set your culture to one that draws in the type of people that you want, not only do you attract them, you also repel those that don't fit in well with your culture. And that's okay. But if your culture is bad, are you repelling those that potentially could take your organization to the next level? I'd say so. So leaders choose the culture, right? And no culture is one size fits all. And so your culture may not be mine, and that's okay. So I don't want you to try to take what I describe as my culture and feel like you have to make it yours. You'll change your culture, and before you know it, you'll be attracting top talent, and that's the goal. So let's start off with this vision right here of a funnel. This is the talent magnet, and we're going to talk about the different systems that you need in place in your business in order to really recruit, retain, and develop your team. And it starts right here. So I love this graphic because if you look up at the top of it here, it's got the talent magnet. It says, talent magnet equals B to the third times awareness. We're going to amplify it. And then it starts really with a sourcing plan. A sourcing plan is your recruiting. Then it's going to come on to our hiring plan. So we got to have a plan in place to hire. How do we do that? We're going to go through that. Then we come down to our onboarding. Onboarding is so important. You get this wrong, you can get someone off to the wrong start, and now we got a problem. And then the last part is the retention plan. But let's go back up to the top. We're going to go into our recruiting. This all starts with you telling your story. I recently was able to interview Mike Rowe from Mike Rowe Works and Dirty Jobs. You might know him from. We had a great talk about how do we solve this tech shortage. And he told me, he said, Chris, we have to tell the story. We have to get people telling the story. So, with your business, what is your story? Are you telling it consistently, using all the outlets that we can? So it really starts with, your story starts with you clearly defining your mission. Why are you in business? Why did you start this company? Where did you come from? What led you to get to this part, right? There's a lot of people that tell phenomenal stories with their business. Most of you are very, very familiar with Ken Goodrich at Gettle. What does he do? He tells the story in his marketing all the time. Yes, it's to attract customers, but guess what? He's also got an extremely good culture, and people are attracted to it because they want to be part of Gettle. They want to do things the right way, not the easy way. He tells the story about him holding the flashlight for his dad, that type of thing. And then we also have to be very, very clear about where we're going. That's called your vision. So if you have let's go back one. If you have a mission statement and a vision statement, but they're this super long thing where it's up on the wall maybe, or it's in a book, but nobody's reading it, I cringe every time, because I had that as well. So try to simplify your mission and your vision and make it very, very compelling. So for example, at Hunter, the company I had, Hunter SuperTex, our mission was to keep customers comfortable, save them money, do it better than anyone else, and honor God with the way that we did that. So that's where it starts. Your story starts with, why are you in business? Where are you going? The vision. And then the last part, this is so critical whenever we get into the hiring part of it, is your core values. How do you operate? That's what core values are about. How do we operate? How do we do things around here? So here's what I'm going to challenge you to do, because we know that your greatest responsibility as a leader is to recruit, retain, and develop your team, right? So I want to challenge you to re-examine your mission and your vision and your core values. Do you need to simplify it? Do you need to clarify it? Once you do that, put it together and tell your story. Let's talk about why it's a great place to work, what you're doing that's impact, where we're heading. People will be drawn to that. It's back to that culture magnet. Your core values too, I encourage you every time that you can, and you can connect the dots between the core value and how you catch your team doing something, that's a win. You're going to reinforce it in their mind. Every meeting that we had at Hunter, we started off every meeting going over our mission. What are we doing? Why are we here? Why do we work at Hunter? Why are we in this industry? What is the purpose of this business? Right? Then we would go on to our vision. I would restate it. Here's where we're going, guys. And then we would always go over at least one core value, and then I would love for them to bring that to life. It works. People remember stories. So back to our main point here, starting at the top, it starts with your story. And you have to tell your story. You got to get it out there. We're going to talk about how you can go into different areas and get that done soon as well. So, all right, so if we're looking at this funnel and we look at your story, that's where we start. Let me just show you how I took all of that story and that vision and that mission and put it into a recruiting video that we did. So let's watch this next slide.
Hunter SuperTex actually got started in 2006. I was doing this actually just after hours and on the weekends for friends and family, but we were getting really busy because we were serving well. So I made a decision in 2009 to concentrate just on growing the Hunter team. I believe having a team is very important because, one is way too small a number for success and significance. There's just a joy in building a team and watching them become successful. So we started growing our team, growing the leaders, and it provided an awesome growth path for these people here. So once they grew into a really good technician, instead of them going out and having to start their own business, we could actually move them to a similar area, which was part of our vision, give them all the benefits of being an owner without a lot of the headaches. And from 2009 to currently, we were able to expand and repeat from one location to multiple locations all over Oklahoma and North Texas. All these things we've put into practice, it didn't happen overnight, but every day when we leave, we want to leave a little bit better than when we found it. And those efforts over time, the progress, the law of process, it's amazing what that accomplishes after years. So now it's like a snowball. You know, we're growing so fast. I'm seeing so many new team members come on, and not only just a core group of people, but now the core group is teaching others how to do it as well. So the duplication factor, exactly what we wanted in our vision. I love being able to go into new areas and serve like they've never been served before. You know, it's exciting and it's fun, and I get to have those people go into that area and they take ownership of it, the team members, and it's a part of them now. So it's not just my story, it's our story.
Okay, we're back. So see, it wasn't just my story. I helped turn the story into our story. That was very key, I think, in growing my team. It made it not just about me, it was about us and what we were doing as a team. Because teamwork was one of our core things, right? We wanted that trait of that teamwork. All right, so let's get into recruiting. I'm sure you all have some great ideas about recruiting, and I went out and learned a lot of great ideas as well. So that's what I really want to cover with you, some takeaways that you can about recruiting. So we know we're going to tell the story. So now we got to figure out, okay, how are we going to distribute the story? How are we going to attract this top talent? And it really starts with this. We got to define who we want to target. So I have a challenge for you. If you have people that are on your team that just, man, they meet your expectation. I mean, they are the definition of what it means to be an awesome team member. So for us, we called our people super techs. So there were some people that were very key super techs. They were very good at their job. What do they look like? What are they interested in? What are some traits that they have? Let's define what the target team member looks like. That'll help us with our recruiting. So then we can think about, what do they like? What are their interests? How can we get in front of them and appeal to them at these things? For example, in southern Oklahoma, where I was from, like I said, this isn't for everybody. I'm not even going to recommend this, because I don't even know, you might get in trouble in some states, right? But we had a whole bunch of people that were really into hunting, fishing, and sports. That's what they liked, you know, so that's what we do around here. So we would do things like offer an AR-15 as an incentive, you know, things like that. What about, so if you have people that are into whatever it is they're into, how can you get in front of them in those different channels? We sponsored team members' bow fishing tournaments that they had, right? So they would go out there, they would have their shirt on that showed our company name, and we would be the sponsor. You know, I just knew that, hey, if the people that are on my team are really good and this is what they're interested in, I want to be in front of them doing those things. I want to use that also as a tool to draw them in. So market in whatever arena that your target audience is at. Social media is a no-brainer these days. Everybody is on social, but don't just limit yourself to Facebook though. I mean, there's all these other social channels out there that a lot of people aren't using. I looked at LinkedIn, and there's a lot of really good professionals on there. I know everybody is now on Instagram and TikTok and all these different things. But have you considered even things like Pinterest? If you could get the interest of a female, oh boy, some of the best employees that we had were females that were attracted in that actually became technicians even. So don't rule out all these different areas in social media. How about scholarships? So whenever I started learning the trade, you know how it was? There was an ad that this company wanted to train people and pay them to go to school and learn mechanical and electrical. Didn't have to do with HVAC, but we know that a lot of the trades that came in very handy. So the plan was, hey, we will pay you a wage. You'll go to school for 6 weeks, and then you will go work for 6 weeks. You'll go back to school. And we did this for a year. Oh my gosh. So if that company would not have offered that scholarship program, there's no way I could have ever done it, because here I had a family. I was trying to support a family. I had to work. I had to earn money. I didn't just have the luxury of being able to go to school and learn a new trade. So think about this. Can you do a scholarship program? Can you do a tiered thing, sign a contract, whatever it is, where if I pay to train you, and I'll also give you a job so you can come and work and learn what we're studying at the school. There's all kinds of great schools out there. We even have one ourselves at Go Time Success Group. Places where you can pay people to learn, and then they'll come back and be productive right off the bat for you. So think about if the Mike Rowe Foundation has a great scholarship. It's called the Work Ethic Scholarship. So you can get scholarships for all kinds of things. You can be awesome at sports. You can have good grades. You can not have money, right? I mean, they give scholarships for that. And then some other random stuff. So why not reward people that want to work hard? If that fits your culture, create a scholarship fund and offer it at the local schools. Use that thing. Even if it's not at the schools, you might attract someone like me that was already in the workforce, but just knew I wanted something better for my life, and I was just looking for the vehicle to do that. So that's a great way to do it. Think about this too. At Hunter, we used internships. Some of my best employees came because they worked for us while they were in high school during the summers. How about that? Yes. Not only are you introducing somebody to the trade, they may just stick with you. We had several of them that actually did. In fact, my daughter is now, my son-in-law actually came because of the internship, right? He came and worked for us during the summer. He ended up marrying my daughter and becoming a phenomenal leader at our company. So, can you go into the local schools? Can you offer a summer internship? Let them come work. See if they like it. Better yet, you're going to see how they are. And here's the deal. Even if they go to college, we had numerous people that continued on and went into college and still worked for us during the summers or their time off. A couple of them even stayed after they got their college degree. How about that? So it's a win-win. I encourage you to check out internships. All right, so how about this? Next slide right here. We have a tremendous referral program. So this is from my friends at McWilliams and Son, Trey McWilliams or Crystal Williams. A lot of you may know her as well. But they put together this referral program for their employees. So basically, if someone that works there refers somebody that don't even have experience, you can see the retention plan that they have. $500 bonus right off the bat if they're hired. $1,000, and then here's the kicker. They got $2,000 for every year they stayed employed. I know we're not on retention part yet, but can you imagine this? If I know that I'm going to get a $2,000 bonus for every person I bring onto the team that stays every year, I'm not going to let them leave, right? I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to keep them on the team. I want them to be there. And I'm not going to leave either, because lo and behold, what if I recommended 3 or 4 people over the years? So I could get $6,000 for, I recommended 3 people every year. That's pretty creative, pretty powerful. You'll see what they did. They even tiered it to where, if you look on this brochure they have, where anybody that had 5+ years of experience, they got a little bit more incentive right up front to do that. So, do you have a referral program? If not, write that idea down. Let's see what you can do. Use it not only as a referral program, but also as a retention program. Call that golden handcuffs. All right, so I want to move on to job fairs. Okay, so here's my beef with job fairs, right? So think about this. If I am a technician at a company Do I want to be seen at my competitor's company and my boss may find out about it and I don't even know if I'm going to get the job? Is that really the best use? I don't think so. So here's what I want to challenge you to do. Have a virtual job fair. How about that? Virtual job fair. So what you do is, and we did this at Hunter, some other great companies have done it. I know Tiger Services did it as well. But go around your office, do a live video, advertise this job fair, and show what it's like to work at your company. So now you're doing a walkthrough, you're getting to talk to the people that are there, you're showing the different jobs, all the opportunities, you're able to show off your shop, how awesome it is, and then you can actually leverage and do like a Zoom interview. Everybody's curious about what's it like at your company and at your shop. It turns into really to be a great tool to get new customers because they're just as curious as well. They're going to watch it and they're going to think, wow, that looks like a great place to work. Probably a great place to choose to fix my system as well. They're great people. Do a virtual job fair. You can have a traditional job fair. And if you do, here's what I recommend doing. At GoTime Success Group, we have virtual VR training. So people put on the headset, they're able to actually fix units and water heaters and all that kind of stuff. Take that to a job fair. Oh my gosh, you talk about a line. Everybody wants to play a video game, right? Well, let them do it. Let them get their hands in there on it. You'll have all the buzz. You use it as a recruiting tool. Let them know, hey, we invest in our people. This is what we do. When you come work here, we put you through training program. We have cool tools like this where you can do virtual reality training. It's an awesome recruiting plan. So, all right, here's the next thing. Are you going to the schools in your area? Starting even as low as, I went to second grade classes and just started the pipeline of telling them about the trades. We have to tell our story. We don't have a tech shortage. We have a leadership shortage. Is this a priority of yours to recruit? If it is, go into the schools. Ask if you can be a part of that. If you have a local tech school, see if you can serve on the board. However you can tell your story, tell your story. At our local tech school that people did in high school, we actually were able to put up our company posters in the shop. That's a recruiting tool. We wanted everyone to see how cool it was to be a super tech, right? How about that? Let's do that. All right, so let's go on to social media. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but are you putting some marketing? Are you putting some budget towards that? You can target people on social media. If you don't know how to do this, there's plenty of companies that can. Even Facebook has the job section on it now. Well, you can put money behind that. You can target people that have HVAC in their current job title. How about that? Yeah, talk about shooting a direct shot. There you go. So and don't just limit yourself to your area. There's people all over that may want to move to your area, right? I've had it happen plenty of time. Speaking of that, when they do, they're going to come to your website. And actually, let's go ahead and show a picture. Right here's a website. So with this website, here's what they want to see when they come to your website. They want to look at who works there. So why not have a great Meet the Team page? So on our Meet the Team page, we had all the team members, and then when you clicked on their picture, it scrolled and showed their super tech photo. It's pretty cool. So we made it cool to be a super tech, right? And then if we go to this next slide here, we can see when you came to our website, we hit the 3 B's. We talked about a better boss, a brighter future, and a bigger vision. And we talked about, what that means to be a super tech on there. And then we used the incentives that we talked about that matched our target audience to draw them in right there. Another thing that I figured out about websites is people, they'll go and they'll look at the reviews. They want to see what customers think about your company. So this is why reviews have to be a major thing. Now you want to take it to the next level? How about this? If somebody comes to your website and actually looks at your hiring page or your career page, retarget them. So you can have this done. So that way it's going to show ads to them again and again. Stay in their mind, top of mind. Treat it just like we're trying to acquire customers, right? Gotcha. So use video on your website as well. So every year we would do a video of why it was awesome to be a super tech. And we would list out all the perks, and I would write on the board all the different things that we did, and people would tell me the reasons, and we would write it there. Then I put that video on my website, on the hiring page, and I would also staple that picture to the wall as a constant reminder, right? So do this. Use your website, tell your story, apply to the 3 B's, offer the incentives, and be consistent in doing this. Always be recruiting, right? Okay, let's go to the hiring process. Okay, with the hiring process, you need a system. Don't trust this to just be a random thing. You actually need a screening process and a system in place for your hiring plan, right? So it starts with the interview process. After you've recruited them into that funnel, your interview process. I recommend you have a series of interviews. So the first interview should be the creep test, right? So here's a great way to do it. We would have even the people in the office, they would give us the first impression. This could even be done virtually. This could be done on a Zoom call, whatever it may be. You could have people submit a little 2-minute video of why they want to work there. Well, tell us about yourself, that type of thing. In your funnel, use that. And if you immediately get that creep test, like, ooh, gosh, no way. Well, okay, so there you don't have to waste any more time. But if they pass that one, now we go to the second part, which I'm a huge fan of personality profile test, an aptitude profile test. Here's an example up on the screen of what we test for. So back to me defining the culture. Well, I knew that integrity was important. I knew that teamwork and customer service. I could train the technical skills, but those 3 things were hard to train for. So with our testing that we have, and it was very, very cheap to do these tests, we could screen for the personality traits and the value traits of potential team members. So, and I can tell you, this thing was hardly ever wrong. So if I saw they didn't score high on integrity, boom, they weren't a candidate for us, right? So it also would give aptitude testing. You can just test for their cognitive abilities of their mechanical aptitude. There's all kinds of tests you can do on this too as well. So every position in your company, basically there is a test that can be done for this. We have a test like this up on our website at gotimesuccessgroup.com, and there's several of them to choose from as well on there. So after you've screened them right there, the beauty about these tests, they actually tell you also interview questions to ask, areas that may be of a concern that you need to address, or strengths that you can expect. So I'm a huge fan of this. One warning on this. One of our best employees one time, he had trouble on this test. And what we found out was he wasn't a test taker. He could put together anything, he could do great, but he wasn't a test taker. So, long story short, if you ever get someone that just fails the mechanical aptitude part, it may be that they're just not a test taker, so I would dig in and talk to the references. So as we go through the screening plan here, we're going to go from there to the testing, now back to a little bit deeper interview. So in the interview process, we really want to dig in and see if what they screen for on that assessment is true. That's why I love the questions that were asked there that helps you ask those questions. And then also, if we were hiring for somebody in the office, think about this. We wanted someone that was bubbly, cheerful, outgoing on the phone. So we would ask them, hey, can you sing happy birthday to us? And if they wouldn't, well, they may not be, they're maybe not hungry enough for the job, or 2, maybe they're not willing to serve, and 3, maybe they're not that bubbly personality. That's just an example of how you can get kind of creative in your testing, in your interview. The last interview that I always like to do, and this is when we pretty well knew somebody was a candidate, is to bring their spouse in. Because if they got crazy at home, chances are it's going to affect their work life, right? And you can sniff that out a lot of times in the interview. And you should be ruthless in your selecting of people for your company. There's 2 times you should be really, really, really ruthless in selecting things, and that's when you choose a wife and when you choose an employee. Because you think if it's expensive to hire a good employee, it is really expensive to try to keep a bad employee and make them productive. So whenever we bring the spouse in, we can explain all the benefits. We talk about how we're going to, those 3 B's, how we're going to be a better boss. We're going to let them be there for the kids' events and the games and things like that. We're going to make them a better person, not just a better employee. I'll never forget one time whenever I did this, I looked across the table and the spouse, she was crying. I'm like, what'd I do? Come to find out, she was just overwhelmed. She's like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we've been praying for. Interview the spouse. Okay, so after we're through the onboarding process or the hiring process, we're on to the onboarding. Okay, with onboarding, on to the onboarding plan. This comes by utilizing a system again, a checklist. I actually have this onboarding checklist that we can share with you guys if you're interested as well. But it basically has everything that we need to do whenever we onboard somebody. And a few key points on the onboarding is this. 1, be very systemized. 2, always assign them a mentor, somebody that their buddy system. And I am a huge fan of telling the story. So in onboarding, I had a video where I personally told the story, where we came from, what it means to be a super tech, how we act, what's our core values, and I implemented that into our process, our onboarding plan. So that way everybody got the same experience as they came on. Also, have an initial 30-day training plan right out of the box. I'm a huge fan of that. That way you can implement the training as soon as you get them onboarded. Most people, their day of onboarding is, hey, go jump in with Johnny out there in the truck and yeah, we'll get you your shirts and stuff here after a while. Have it laid out with that checklist. It'll help you not miss anything. You'll get all the right stuff. And then equally as important, if they do leave, you have another checklist to make sure you got all those items back, right? An exit checklist. All right, so let's move on to retention. Okay, with retention, let's retain these employees. So let's just recap really fast. We've told the story, we've recruited them, we've sourced them through the hiring, the aptitude testing, all of that. We've put them through the hiring process, the onboarding process. Now they're productive and we got to keep them. How do we do that? Well, I want you to look at this graph here on the screen. So this is really an S-curve of team development. So you may be familiar, typically what happens is a new employee starts and they're at that stage 1. They're eager, but they don't really know a lot, right? And then they get up to stage 2 where they're starting to learn, they're starting to be really productive, and then all of a sudden they get to stage 3 where they're on top of their game. They are your leading producer. But here's what can happen. They can actually get bored here. And if they get bored, they start going downhill to that stage 4. They may get entitlement. They may they start losing interest. So here's the key thing with retention. Once you get that top performer, before they start sliding back down, you need to find a way to re-engage them. I can give you countless examples of people on our team that they would give them a new challenge, a new opportunity, switch jobs, maybe departments, whatever it takes to reinvigorate that passion that they had when they joined your team. So re-engage them before they leave. Another thing that we did here at Hunter is we stepped people through that program. We developed them as they grew in that culture. We would take and plant them in the next area over. That was our vision, right? Get really good, develop leaders, duplicate in similar areas. Well, once we developed them into that leader that they should be, we would put them in the next town over, give them all the benefits of being an owner without all the headaches. We did all of that at the home office, all the call taking, the billing, the marketing. All they had to do was engage the team, build their team, and interact in the community. It was a retention plan. After our exit, guess what? Every one of those leaders now have equity in the company as well. So it was a win-win for all. Moving on to the next slide here. Retention plans. People want to see that future, right? That brighter future. Well, that goes to providing them a path. This is a graph here of Ben Stark. He has different technician levels. It showed people when you come in, you're a level 1. Here's what that means. Here's what it takes to get to level 2, level 3, how that progresses in pay and benefits and all that goes along with it. Have a retention plan like this where you show them a career path and it'll pay off for you. All right, so next on the retention plan, I want to show you this slide right here. It is our vision boards. So the way that I was able to retain a lot of people was I connected the dots of what they desperately wanted and what they needed, and connected it to what we wanted as a company, and showed them that if we could accomplish our company mission, then I could help them achieve their personal mission. Well, as this worked together, they saw that, hey, this is an awesome place to work. We're in alignment. Alignment is a key word there. And we were able to retain a lot of people. So if I had the opportunity to check off an item on their vision board, and it was in my power, I did it. I spent a lot of time studying what was most important to them. And we can provide you with that vision board template that if you'd like as well. It was a great tool. Displayed it up here at our office, and that way everybody knew. And there's something about when you put something on paper, put it on the wall, wow, it tends to happen, right? It makes it very good. So, are you providing a career path? Are you connecting the dots, getting alignment between the company goals and your goals? Are you re-engaging people before they start heading down that S-curve? These are things with retention. Also think about this. When you're wanting to retain people, how can you create golden handcuffs? Remember that referral thing earlier where every year they stayed, they got more? Couldn't you do this with your membership plan? Say you paid people $1 a month for every time that a membership plan stays active. Well, heck, over the course of years, they could create a very big residual income. They're going to have to really think about if they want to leave and walk away from that. Okay, we're down here at the last part of our most important thing as a leader, right? Our greatest responsibility was to recruit, retain, and develop top talent for our team. So how do we develop them? Once again, comes down to a system. So here's a picture of the lab at Go Time. We were a huge fan of training our team. And when I say training the team, I don't just mean in technical, but also in communication. But one thing that we were really big on was also training on life skills. Once we were able to develop them, back to that promise that I made that spouse that, hey, we want them to become a better person, not just become a better employee. That's why life skills was a huge part of our retention and development plan. It'll also pay many dividends far past work if you will implement this. Things like help them set a personal growth plan. This goes back to that vision board. I know great contractors that have a mental health person that will come in and help people or just proactively coach the team. So I encourage you to put together a training calendar. And inside the training calendar, we can have what we're going to train on to hit on the technical, the communication or sales side, and then also don't forget the life skills side. Have that plan. Utilize the tools that are out there too in all these best practice groups or places like Go Time Success Group. Virtual training or online or in person, whatever it is, it's abundantly available now more so than ever. So, do you have a development plan for your team? Every position should have this. Every position should have a training calendar, no matter what it is, and also a personal growth plan, how you can help them achieve their goals. All right, well, I want to thank you all for hanging with me on that. I hope you got some good nuggets, but let me just recap. You, the leader, your greatest responsibility is to recruit, retain, and develop top talent. It's up to you, right? You define the culture. And it starts by having the systems in place. You got to tell the story. Put it out there, all the different channels, make it a priority. Then you have to bring it in to where a sourcing plan. Once they funnel in, now we have to have a hiring plan. We got to test them. We got to make sure we don't hire a bad person. It's, oh my gosh, it'll set you back years. One bad hire, one bad apple can corrupt the whole bunch, right? After the hiring plan, we got to have an onboarding plan. Let's get them up to speed. What do we do here? Where are we going? Let's go. And then after that, we've got to figure out how can we retain them. We can use these retention techniques that we talked about. And then the last part, developing them. The more you develop them, the more you'll retain them, the more you'll get more referrals for new employees. So, I hope you'll take action on this, follow the Go Time formula, and create that waiting list for people that are waiting to join your team. I'd love to stay in touch with you all, because you know what time it is? It's go time. All right.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you for having me on here. So maybe we got a few Q&A questions to hit on here as well.
We do. We got some coming in pretty hot and fast. So here we go. Let's just get right to them.
Okay.
Let's see here. Where did you get your pre-hire testing from?
There is a lot of great testing things out there. Myers-Briggs. There's all these different organizations. We actually have one on the website at GoTime. That the one that we use, and they're cheap. My gosh, I mean, you can get these things for $35 to $50 for basically any position in your company. And I mentioned this on the thing, but I wanted to reiterate it here. So it measured things that was very important to me, like integrity or teamwork and customer service and the mechanical aptitude, if I wanted that logic as well. But then also the list of questions that it gave afterwards, they were awesome, because they would tell me exactly what to ask in that interview to really flush out anything that was kind of surfaced in that pre-hire testing thing as well. So I'm a huge fan of them. Now I'm here at Service Titan, and I'm looking to build a team as well, and I'm craving that tool again. So I've even asked them, like, man, maybe we need to get one of these tools like that, because it was so beneficial.
All right, next one here. How can we get your onboarding plan?
Okay, cool. Yeah, hey, we'll give it to anybody that wants it. So it's an onboarding checklist. It's very easy to edit. You can actually go to the Go Time booth. There's a booth there, and Dylan's there. He can give it to you. Or you can send me an email if you'd like, either which way. chunter@servicetitan.com. I can get it to you that way as well. But Dylan's probably got it right there with the shareable link at the Go Time booth. And you can edit it, fill it in, do whatever you need to. It was the one that I personally used at Hunter. So if some of the things on there you may see are like, what is that? It was just something that we used, including something like one little tip Dave Rothker gave me. He said, Chris, he said, imagine the first day when you start a new job, it's nerve-wracking. Well, the spouse is just as nerve-wracked at home. They're nervous, for their spouse starting work. He said, so make it part of your checklist to like send them flowers or a gift, welcome them to the team. So can you imagine you got a new employee, shows up to work, and then all of a sudden at the spouse's work, here comes in a big bouquet of flowers. I guarantee you what'll happen. They'll take a picture, they'll put it on Facebook, everyone will ooh and ah. And then next thing you know, you just help that recruiting, because now people are like, wow, what kind of place sends flowers? I would have forgot about it all the time, but my office had that checklist on that onboarding plan, and that was an item on there. So.
All right, we got even more coming in here. Let's see. What is your background in education? Do you have a degree in something not in the trades?
Whew, degree, my gosh, I think I had a 2-point-something GPA in high school. So no degree. I got a degree in hard knocks. So I actually did go to college. I actually went and played baseball for one semester. And then college algebra got me, and I was married and had a child, and I had to go to work.
So my degree, though, it really came from learning from others. I was so blessed to, when I started my business, I knew right away, hey, there's people that's already done this, that I need to go figure out what they're doing and how can I do that. So one of the first things I did, I bought Ron Smith's book, HVAC Spells Well, and I implemented it. I just did what it said. And then when I joined the Service Nation, I made it my mission to go around and learn from all the best contractors. So my degree is from people like Service Nation. It is truly a degree of studying those that were where I wanted to be. And I made it a mission to give it all I could to make sure that I could learn to do that and then take action on it.
Great.
Good question.
So we got another one here. How did you start to grow your team? How did you have time to do all this growing, and who were the first people you hired?
Well, the first thing that happens is you got to start replicating that first few hires is the toughest one. And this is where the vision comes in more than anything. So, but you have a unique thing in your vision right here, or in your recruiting. If you're a small shop, you have the opportunity to personally mentor your replacement. And they're going to be on the ground floor of growing your company. So that's a very compelling vision. At a larger company, they don't necessarily have that benefit of being personally mentored by the owner. So use that to your advantage. So, but I also got some really good advice. Once I joined the Service Nation, I actually had a back injury. And Larry Taylor told me, he said, Chris, you're going to be off. He said, so here's what you do. You work and you make sure everyone on your team can do everything that you would normally do while you're going to be off. And when you come back, you don't pick up one of those tasks. Don't take them back. You focus on growing your team and growing the business. So I literally took my tools out of my truck where I couldn't do a call if I wanted to. And it forced me to be present and start to grow my team.
All right, let's see here. Do you have a slow season? And if so, how do you keep all your staff on board?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everyone in HVAC, you feel like you're riding a ship, right? You got your peaks and your slow, but it all comes down to club memberships, maintenance agreements. It's steady that thing. Create, every day you got so many technicians that you have to get them in a home. So we ought to start every month knowing how many homes do we need to be in and market like crazy to make sure that we are filling those gaps. And that comes through club memberships. I really believe that eliminates the slow season. So every time that we got a club membership, we would celebrate it in that company meeting because we said, hey, guess what? We just got one membership was 4 hours of guaranteed work in the slower seasons. So we knew it that, hey, if we get so many of these, no one's ever going to have one of these slow weeks where you don't make any money. We're going to have the opportunity. So definitely club memberships.
All right, we got another good one here. How did you approach the local high school and trade schools about creating the intern program? Were there any obstacles to overcome with the schools?
They are so hungry to have people like you come in there and talk to the students. So you do it 1 or 2 times, I guarantee you will be approached more times than you may even want. And I never turned them down. I went to, like I said, I even went all the way down to 2nd grade classrooms. And you're thinking, why in the world would you go to 2nd grade? And I did it just because I could see the frenzy. I would bring my little we had little bracelets with our company name and the Colossians 3:23. And I'd go in there and, get them all excited about being in the trades and all the cool tools. And I'd throw out the bracelets. And I did that one time though. And I realized, oh my gosh, you don't stir 2nd graders up because they go crazy and they're attacking everything. But the point was make it cool to be in the trades. So just approach them. And then I guarantee you, they will keep wanting to have you back. And once you stand up and speak, all of a sudden your credibility goes way up for whatever reason. It's not natural for me to get up and speak. First time I did it, about blacked out. And, but once you do, people will respect that and they'll ask you to keep coming back. So good question.
Awesome. Well, that is a perfect segue into our next question. How did you get so good at public speaking and articulating your thoughts? Do you have any good books or classes you can recommend on that?
Yes. So back to learning you know, if you want to do something, the Go Time formula basically lays this out, but it starts with setting the goal and then going and learning from someone that's already done that. So I joined the John Maxwell leadership team and took a whole thing about leading people and speaking, and I'm still not very good at it. Yeah, I fumble over my words. I've got an accent, all these things, but I'm a heck of a lot better than I was when I first started. And it would have never happened if I wouldn't have invested in myself to go get some training to do that. So there's local Toastmaster clubs and all this stuff that you can do, but it really comes from seeking out the training and then putting it into practice, which is also part of the Go Time formula of taking action. So.
Great. Let's see here.
Good question.
Got time for a few more maybe. What was your biggest failure in the growth process?
Oh man, this is a tough one. Ultimately, it was not getting out of my own way sooner. So you can have growth or you can have control. You can't have both. So too long, I tried to hang on to that control. No one can do it as good as me. That's what I thought. I was wrong because they did it much better than me than I ever could. But you can have growth or you can have control. You start releasing the control and investing it back into the team, and it'll take off. My biggest failure was not doing that soon enough and often enough. So if I could go back in time, I would have started on day one, just like Ben Stark has. He started these other companies where right off the bat, he started with empowering a team. I would have done that. I would have invested in myself sooner to learn that, to start releasing that control.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the time we have today. So I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much, Chris.
All this stuff too. We do have a book that's out. Ben Stark and Dave Rothker and I wrote all these lessons in there. So it's called It's Go Time of all things. So if anyone's interested, you can check that out.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
See you guys.
See ya.